Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about the Avs and the Nuggets and the ramp up to the playoffs. Who is in peak form? Are we chasing some fool's gold with the Nuggets? And then we're going to talk a little Broncos, of course, at the end. So stick with us, and we'll be right back.
Yo, welcome to the show. Let me set the scene. Mile High Sports Symposium, living the dream. Broncos in the house with that orange and blue. Nuggets making moves, watch that altitude crew. Avalanche bringing ice, check the skills they display. Rocky swinging bats, ready for game day. Rapids in the mix, kicking it with style. Buffs bring the heat, put the rivals on trial. Out talking JJT, they got the scoop. Mile High vibes, feel that energy rise. Sports on the menu, watch the crowd mesmerize. From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mile High Sports Symposium. I am one of your hosts, JT Matthews. I am here joined, as usual, by Chris Whitwright and the doctor, Nicholas Manning. Boys, how are we doing today? It is hot out. We're back to like the summer feeling weather.
Yep.
Yeah,
Gonna pay for it.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I am not someone that usually needs sunscreen. I feel like something bad's gonna happen. So
What's that like?
I'd invest in the payback. It's pretty glorious, I'm not gonna lie. We went to where did we go? Was it Aruba? Went to Aruba with the kids. And they got mine. Mom tans well, but she's not working with melanin. Anyway, white with a hard H. And so my kids sunburned for the first time. And their reactions were it was like, I'd be like, hey, can you pick up your shoes? I can't, my sunburn. Like, what? What? You can't pick up your shoes? And it was like not blistery, right? It was red, it was like a little tight and all that stuff. And it was just like watching them like, oh, that's your first one. That's why you don't know what that's like. That's So yeah, I initiated my kids, did on purpose. What are you gonna say about it, parents? Nothing. It was Aruba and it was like 110 degrees. So what are you gonna do? But
That'll do it.
The day-to-day wins. We're going towards the sun, but you know what? At least on April 8th, they're playing basketball. Baseball. We haven't had a Rockies game snowed out yet.
That's true.
So that's good.
Knock on wood. We'll see what happens. If we get through April, I feel like we'll be all right. But April's always a little volatile, so we'll see.
I mean, it is bipolar to say the least, for sure.
For sure. Well, let's jump right into it. I think we're starting out with your Colorado Avalanche. Avs got a win last night, and that puts them, I think they're 1 point away from clinching the President's Trophy now. I think they clinched first place last night, and then with one more point, they'll clinch the President's Trophy. I want to start with a little President's Trophy talk because there's a lot of, for those of you who don't know, which I'm pretty sure most of our listeners know, there's some bad juju, what's the word? Superstition around the President's Trophy and how a lot of teams, if you win the President's Trophy, you don't win the cup. What's your feel on that just in general? Obviously, I mean, do you buy into superstition? Do you buy into, maybe finishing with the first overall record in the league puts a lot of more of a target on your back?
I think we had I think we had the target on our back regardless because we just are one of the more talented teams. So we always going to get whoever we're playing a game. So I thought it was really encouraging that we beat the brakes off of Dallas a couple nights ago without Cale Makar. I thought that was a really good sign that we were able to figure it out for that win. So I don't know. Hockey's weird. Like apparently, according to Wikipedia, so official sources here,
Right.
Sources.
The trophy's been awarded 37 times. Only 8 times have the winners gone on to the Stanley Cup, and 8 times they've been eliminated in the first round. So
that is pretty weird.
Weird.
Yeah.
So
if you have it up, Chris, the last one to win both in the same season was 2012, 2013 Chicago Blackhawks.
Yep.
So yep, it's been 14 years since. That said, I agree with Chris. I think they've been the best team since the first 2 weeks of the season, and so I think having the power to control your own destiny, I think for this team is really good. I don't know that last year's team would. I don't know, but I think that this is a different group. I think that they came in saying, you know what, we're not going to leave our championship aspirations left to chance of the first round draw, and the only way that you can assure that is to get first. Yep. And we all know that if you're not first, you're last. So they wanted to make sure. Stupid. They want to make sure, and I think that that's a target, like recognizing like we're bigger than a curse, we're bigger than whatever that might be. And I really love the point of their ability to be able to fight. Like that Dallas game was, I mean, it was touch and go, right? I feel like they were in pretty good control, but goals weren't coming. And that had been a game, or in the playoffs last year, in that game, they couldn't close. They couldn't get the key hit. They couldn't get the key save. And this team showed different. And that, to me, we'll talk about it with the Nuggets a little bit, is do they believe that they can win? And I think that game was like we're the shit. Like we're good. We don't have Kale, which is, arguably top 3 player in the world. And we beat our nemesis on the road at like 1 o'clock, right? Like it's a weird start time in adult sports. So not that I'm opposed to it. 1 p.m.s are great. Gives me time to take a nap still, like all the good things. But, the Avs in 2001 won the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup. So we even have at least historical history as the Avalanche of succeeding when you were supposed to. So I'm pumped. I think that this team is primed and ready to go, and I think that game showed it.
Yeah. I mean, this team is obviously talented. They've pushed all their chips into the middle of the table. How do you feel like this team stacks up, at least from a personnel standpoint, or maybe even personality standpoint, to the cup-winning teams that we know for the Avs? Because I think you have more scoring pop maybe than you've ever had. Maybe at least for the last team 2022, I think. And I think that there's definitely the personnel is there. Do you feel like this compares to the other teams we've seen win a cup, Chris?
Yeah, I think for me, at least, like comparing this to Avalanche teams in the past, I feel better about the goaltending than I have for any of their Stanley Cup teams since basically Wall left. So I just feel more comfortable with the goaltending. I think we've got all the pieces around us that are that you need. So yeah. So
I think that this team has some gumption, some fortitude that reminded me of those other teams. I think talent-wise, I think that this team is just as talented as the 22 team, maybe even more. I think when you look at the center line depth, their goalies have been better.
Yeah.
As long as they're healthy going in, whether or not they have the camaraderie that group had, I don't know yet, but I think that Dallas game, and then to come back and beat the Blues after they had a stinker in Brett Burns' 1000th game, instead of mailing it in, they came back, put B to A, and that to me shows that there's this team understands the goal, and they're not getting fat and happy over, we're the best team, like we did that. Like, nope, that's not even a check point. Ours is to get in there and win rounds. And so I think that this team has felt different since earlier in the year. You bring Kadri back, and they really didn't trade away, I think, a really key player to the group. There wasn't really a core player that went out. And so you're really just adding a guy that you know represents the organization, your locker room well, has fit in with the majority of the guys before that have had that chance to play with him. Coach knows him, like all of that stuff. I think you've been able to see that, and then that to me kind of shows that this team's always there. We'll see when if they're down 3-2 in a series and what that looks like, but I still feel really confident about the Avalanche's teams to be competent and win a Stanley Cup because I put money on it already. So
nice, got some futures.
Yeah, just if you believe, we do. I think maybe the question that I want to ask you all, okay, is Pavel Francouz the goalie? Okay, no. Is there any doubt that it's Wedgie? Like, is there any case to be made that, hey, Blackwood, like, we got you? They gave every opportunity for McKenzie. It's like Paxton Lynch all over again. Like, come on, man. Like, we're scripting this. Just throw the out. And McKenzie's not even playing bad. It's just there's a level of difference, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I tend to trust Wedgwood more right now. I mean, if you ask me who do I want to start game one of the playoffs, it's probably Wedgwood. Just from the body of work so far this year, in a way you wish that it was Blackwood just because he's the younger guy, he's the bigger goaltender. But he's had some bad showings, and so not to say that he's been all bad. Obviously, they've been a good unit altogether. But I think if you had to pick one over the other, I'd pick Wedgwood right now. And it's, I'm not sure what they'll end up doing or how that rotation will look. I'm guessing they'll probably still use both guys, probably pretty freely, just depending on the matchup or who's feeling good, who's looking good. But right now, I'd give the edge to Wedgwood.
Yeah, I agree with that. Although I think I think we talked about it last week that Bednar's going to rotate goalies. So
yeah.
So I think either way you're good to go.
Yeah, I think so. I had a question, but I forgot it now. Oh no, I didn't have a question, but I did note. I did see, and I didn't watch the game last night. I watched a little bit of it, but I didn't see the majority of it. Apparently, Kadri went down with an injury as well, so something to keep an eye on. Two upper body injuries for Makar and Kadri, so hopefully they can get healthy here down the stretch and make a push. But I think we're going to transition to your Denver Nuggets. Let's start with this weekend's game against the Spurs. Jokic v. Victor Wembanyama. Clash of the Titans, super entertaining game. Your Nuggets came out with a 2-point victory in overtime. To keep the streak going, I think they've got 9 in a row now. Looking for 10 tonight against the Grizzlies, which hopefully they can take care of business. Just thoughts on first. Let's talk a little bit about the MVP spin. Jokic has been kind of left out of the conversation until recently. I think we all know the unprecedented numbers he's putting up right now. Do you understand? I think we're obviously biased as Nuggets fans. What do you think about the voter fatigue argument, the best player, best team argument for the MVP? Is that something that Jokic should be worried about? Is it something that us as fans should be worried about?
Yeah, I don't think I don't think Jokic wins it. So for whatever reason, I think the league is really pushing SGA versus Wemby, and I think they're pushing that narrative. So, and unfortunately, we're going to need so many games in order for that to happen. So, so I would still expect Wemby to win it. So rather than Jokic, but again, not to discount anything about what Jokic is doing, because he has been just incredible. So it's just unfortunate that not only is Jokic playing well, but Wemby's playing really well as well. So.
Yeah, it's like you got to knock a guy down to get your guy. I think Shea has played great. I think Wembanyama's played great. I think if any of these three, and even Luka, though that might not be eligible. Also, Wembanyama has to play 20 minutes at least one more time this year. He is no longer available for postseason awards. Hashtag just saying. You know, if the Nuggets finish as the 3 seed, maybe. Jokic isn't like just the MVP. Like he's redefining what dominance looks like. He is a unicorn. And for that, I do think that there's fatigue. I think we all know Michael Jordan probably should have won the award 8 years in a row. But where's the fun in that? You know, you got to give one to Carl. You got to give one to, and at least our superstar, we believe anyway, he doesn't care that's not his motivator. And, you know, you're not getting an Embiid situation where he's going to go post and whine and like becomes the distraction or the focal point instead of, we got a chance to win a championship. You know, like, this is it. It will be crazy though. We thought last year was just bonkers for Jokic and didn't win the MVP. He's going to have better statistics in each of the categories. So right now, 28 points per game, 12.9. We'll round these up if you want. 13 rebounds and 10.9, so 11 assists. Like that's just, if you averaged any of those stat lines as an NBA player, you're balling.
Yeah.
If you average 2, you're a machine. Average 3 from the center position while shooting like 57% from the floor and 40 something from 3 is just
he's probably not going to win it by a healthy margin. So which is just insane. But
yeah, I mean there's people that said he's not on my top 5. It's blasphemy. It's super weird. Because he's also like everything that's right with basketball, you know, like he's a humble superstar. He plays hurt. He the beauty of the game, kind of old schoolish. Yet the people that wish that we had a little bit more old school basketball are the ones that won't vote for him, which is it's just nuts. He keeps everyone involved. People love playing with him. He doesn't take the spotlight. You know what I mean? He averages 30 points a game, but he's shooting it to the equivalent that, you know, what Shea is yakking up in the first half. So he won't win because MVP or the NBA writing community is whack. He's top 10 in scoring, number 1 in rebounds, number 1 in assists. Like, how are you not better? And then when you have the game, I think that was a statement game where Wembanyama played well, right? There is the real belief that he is the best defensive player ever already, which was kind of crazy. But at least in this generation, or at least this version of it, I mean, 7'5" with an 8-foot wingspan and basketball intellect, and Jokic dropped a 40-point triple-double with the game-sealing, you know, like just there's nothing that Wemby can do, and he is the most physically like there's no one's built like that ever, nobody. Yeah. So I think we all know. I think the basketball community itself knows that Jokic is that dude. And what I do love, though, and I want to get your guys' take on, I saw like killer Nikola back. Like he was engaged from jump, and it kind of has carried since then. And, you know, to nitpick a team that's 9 in a row. Mm-hmm. They did that without their superstar necessarily always being kind of the superstar. I think he has said we're winning. And he's played like that. And when Jokic has that look like ludicrous, you know, move, get out the way, like that, I'm getting out of the way. Get out of the way. And I also, because he brings his brothers, you all saw that. Jokic fans on point. Like they are postseason ready, you know. It's phenomenal. So no, he won't win, but we all know what's up. We all know who should be winning.
As fans of this team, this message goes out to fans of other teams. Do not mess with the Jokic brothers. Just don't do it.
Don't do it.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Like, it's different. It's different messing with someone with a rap sheet, and then different messing with someone with war crimes.
Right.
It's just, my man didn't mess up parallel parking.
Right.
You know, got a couple parking tickets.
Right.
Overthrown governments. You know. It's what everything's good at basketball. Even the family.
Yeah. Just to kind of transition to the Nuggets as a whole, the Nuggets currently are the 3rd seed. They are 1 game ahead of Houston and LA. You know, so obviously that's not solidified yet. Their playoff spot has not been solidified yet. I'm just wondering, you know, it looks like if we stay in the 3 spot, then our likely opponent is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Timberwolves obviously we've played them in the last handful of years in the playoffs. Some success. Championship year, we won against them in the first round in 5. Second, last year or 2 years ago, they beat us, knocked us out of the playoffs. Is this a matchup that you think the Nuggets are excited for? Do you think that they would prefer to play? I mean, obviously, I think with the Lakers, you'd like to get the Lakers in the first round with no Doncic and no Austin Reeves right now, potentially in that series. If you were Adelman, would you be kind of gaming the system a little bit, trying to decide at the end of the day, do we sit guys, play guys the last game of the season if it matters for your standing and your opponent?
Yeah, I think I'm trying. Yeah, I think I'm trying for the 3 seed, and it's not so much about the Timberwolves this year as it is I want to play the Spurs going forward. I'd rather be on that side of the bracket than try and get OKC. And I've been pretty consistent with that. I think the Spurs are a really talented team, but they're also really young, and they don't have that veteran presence to kind of carry them over the hump, in my opinion. So I think the more advantageous path is probably through San Antonio. And that means getting the 3 seed.
Yeah, I think it's more just you got to beat the West is no joke. You're not going to get layups anyway. So if you're trying to outthink it, to me, that's you're showing up with no confidence, right? That because if the draw doesn't go your way, are you ready? And right now, just for note, the Nuggets have won 3 of the 4 matchups against the Timberwolves. So even though the Timberwolves won the last one, the Nuggets have won on Christmas. It was an OT game, phenomenal. But the previous two games were blowouts, were kind of runaways, and so. For such a good defensive team that Minnesota can be, the Nuggets are scoring 124 points against them with shooting at least 50%. So I don't think that this is the team that we played a couple years ago that really gave us some fits. I would like this matchup because they're tough. And if you're going to go up against Houston, if you're going to go up against OKC, that's how they play with good athletes, and they are physical when they're on the ball. And, you don't want to play a couple cupcakes, teams at Houston and teams like that are going to play around the perimeter and not challenge you too much or play physical. And then you get in a boxing match with OKC, just that jolt will lose you a game, if not 2. So I think you play for the highest seed possible because in the end, you just want to be playing your best going in. And you can't play your best going in while losing. So I like where they're at, and I like their mentality with where they're at. And bring it on. Bring on the 3 seed, G.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, man, I have mixed feelings. I have a little less.
Shocker.
I know. I have a little less confidence in the Nuggets this year as I have in the past. Now, they're peaking at a good time.
Yeah.
But it's just been such a journey this season from the highest starting the season out hot. Aaron Gordon looking like a world beater with his shooting motion. A 50-point game to start the year, and then injury after injury after injury. Jokic coming back, little prone to turnover more this year than previous years, really dropping some games. After the All-Star break that they probably should have won against undermanned teams. It's been a tough road, and I'm not saying that they should throw any games away necessarily. I don't fear the Timberwolves like you guys said the way that I have as a matchup in the past. Nickeil Alexander-Walker going to Atlanta was a big loss for them. He was a big Murray matchup guy. Now that's going to be Bones Highland. I don't necessarily fear that guy as far as being able to guard that 2-man game. Gobert, obviously, we know can affect the game, but Jokic has a good track record against him. I think that team is beatable. Jaden McDaniels is coming back from injury. It seems like pretty soon here, if not tonight, then before the end of the season. Yeah. He's a big X factor for them, the same way that I think Payton Watson will be for us. So we'll see how if they can get healthy before the season. But, obviously I'd like to match up against a team maybe that has a less defensive big man, because really you're going to go through if it locks up today, say you make it to the Western Conference Finals and the finals, you're going through Rudy Gobert as a defensive center, you're going through Victor Wembanyama as a defensive center, and then you're going through the number one defense in Oklahoma City. It's just going to really show is it defense or offense that wins in the NBA? Is it going to come down to that? In the tight games, is it going to come down to getting a key stop or getting a key bucket? And are we going to see consistency with that? So it's a tough draw no matter how you look at it. If you end up, the Rockets somehow ended up falling down, or Timberwolves win their last three, Lakers win their last or lose their last three, maybe like the matchup a little bit more. But I think either way, you're gonna have to battle to get to the finals. There's no easy route.
And Minnesota has been struggling recently. Like I think in the last 3 to 4 or something like that. So, again, I agree with Jared that this season has been a journey, and I think that's what is giving me a little bit of pause, is because especially right after the All-Star break, they were just struggling left, right, and center. So, I think I feel better about this team because they're playing so well recently. So, and having that momentum going into the playoffs, I think is important. What's interesting to me is that the potential small ball lineup that Adelman was playing with maybe a week and a half ago, he apparently has gotten rid of that because Jonas Valanciunas, played, 15 minutes on Monday against the Blazers. So, which I think is interesting. I think that helps us against a bigger team like Minnesota. So,
and played well.
Yes.
Yeah, I think some of it a little bit due to necessity, just because Spencer Jones is going to be in some of those smaller lineup. He'll be your small ball 5. Aaron Gordon will be your small ball 5. Peyton Watson might. And those two of those guys are injured right now. So we'll see. But I do think actually it'll be interesting because Val's played well. He played well against the Spurs. He kind of kept that bench unit afloat when Jokic went out, which we kind of came to expect him to kind of struggle in those minutes, at least recently. And then against Portland, he had I think in the third quarter, no, it must have been beginning of the fourth quarter, he had 7 points in a row just to keep him afloat with that bench unit too. So he's been playing well. I don't know that that'll translate to him. I think it'll be matchup dependent. Like maybe you like him in there against your bigger centers like Wemby and Gobert, but less against the smaller lineups like OKC. It'll probably be matchup dependent a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out, or how Adelman deploys those units. Because I think the one benefit of being so injured is that you've tried a lot of combinations of guys. You've seen who you can trust and who you can't in those big moments. A lot of guys have stepped up. I think if you need offense, you might throw Julian Strawther in there every once in a while, just to give him the ball, let him operate and shoot some threes. If you need some defense, Spencer Jones will be in there maybe a little bit more. If you need rebounding, you can get Jonas in there. I think it'll be a bit of a chess match, maybe more so than we've seen with Malone in the past. Malone was such this is our rotation and this is who we're going to deploy. I think we're going to see, times where they're playing man defense. I think we're going to see a lot of zone defense, a lot of switching. Sometimes they won't switch. It'll just be a lot more fluid situation than I think we're used to seeing, especially when it comes to playoff basketball for the Nuggets.
I mean, if you look at how teams were, Jeez. And if you look at how teams were defending Christian Brown, they weren't. San Antonio laid out the carpet. It was good to see him, miss a couple and then start knocking some down. I like the Strawther. It feels like when they gave him more crunch time kind of minutes, he's played really well.
Yeah,
and not necessarily we're to take Jamal off the court, but it's nice to know, that you got that.
Well, Strawther won. One game. What was it? Game 5 for the Nuggets against OKC. Essentially, he came in, had a nice flurry of offense, got them a nice little cushioner back in the game, and then we closed it out. But he's shown that he can do that the same way kind of Christian Brown did it in the championship year
Yep.
You know, he had a couple games where he was just a spark plug for the team. Maybe he gets that opportunity, maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they end up health-wise coming down the stretch. I think Peyton Watson's going to be a big piece of that picture too. You know, not only just defensively like we were thinking coming into the year, but offensively now too. Has a really good opportunity to kind of buoy that second unit and then get some quality minutes with Jokic down the stretch too. So hopefully he gets healthy. Sorry, I had one more Nuggets thing. What is on our thing? Let me look. Oh, do you think that it's good? Sorry, I had a brain fart. Do you think it's good that they're getting hot right now? Because I think I could see, you know, when the Nuggets won the championship, they basically didn't play the last 2 weeks of the season. They came in rested. They looked unstoppable. You know, is it good that they're kind of all starting to click right now, or do you think it's a little late, or do you think that it is maybe, you know, you getting some wins at the end here, but that doesn't necessarily set you up for success moving forward, Chris?
I'd rather have them playing well than not at all. So I think that, again, that gives me more comfort with the team that they are, you know, gelling at the right time, where you have, like, you know, the pieces are already in place. We're not having to. Okay, so now, like, for instance, with Minnesota, like, Jaden McDaniels is coming back, but we don't know what he's going to look like, how healthy he's going to be, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, I would prefer them playing well, and that's exactly what we're getting right now.
Yeah, and a variety of wins, right? Come back against Portland, tough, slug it out against San Antonio. Like, they're winning in different ways. You know, being able to pull out a win when Jamal Murray is a no-show. In the first half, he figures out some ways to do it. So that part I enjoyed, knowing that they're building some calluses. So there's only 3 games left. So you know, 2 of them are one's against San Antonio, one was against OKC. Kind of see, you know, how both of those teams play it. If they I don't know that. I think that the seeds are pretty solidified. So it looks like there's 3 left. So I guess its magic number is 1. Right now.
There's 3 left, but there's 3 teams that are anywhere between 3, 4, and 5. So
I mean the OKC and the San Antonio, because I don't know who they're going to put on the court.
Wrapped.
Yeah. So I don't know who they're going to put on the court, and so part of it is then, like, you better not lose that team unless you are also resting everybody, which, you know, right now it's hard because, like, I don't see that the Lakers, like, I don't know how they're going to win another game, let alone a couple. Like, so
dejected for sure.
Yeah. Did you see the Grizzlies tonight? Or, like, have like 12 or 15 players out? Yeah. I was going to ask you if you got a call from, like, the Bucks.
I did.
Did you suit up tonight?
But
you available?
Tight hammy. I had to hit shotgun to Willis first,
right,
before I go. You know, so it's the Grizzly way.
Right.
That's
just
funny.
bring guys off the street.
Right.
You better not lose to a team who's actively trying to lose the rest of the games.
So you know, the best they can.
Like, you better come out with a win, and maybe hopefully you get Jokic to rest in the second half or something.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Bury it. You got to bury it first half. Let your young guys get minutes. Drawn Holm should have 32 points in this game because he's been a
clean up crew darling too. He hits a three ball every time he's out there in the closing minutes of the game.
That's my guy. That's my guy.
He's dope. I like him.
All right. All right. Real quick, let's hit our promos, and then we're going to jump into some things. I have to go a little early because parenting, and you know what helps me parent? Caffeine. You can get some W. Use our promo code OBN10, Orange and Blue Network 10. Get 10% off your order at checkout, or you can remember it as Bonix. All of the good stuff, none of the bad stuff. You can't pronounce it, don't drink it. Listen to me, I'm a doctor. And also, when you have a chance, go to all the socials, like, subscribe, comment for the algorithm. Give us a few more thumbs up. Appreciate you, Jolly Roger, for the like on Facebook. If you could, help us. I'm just trying to feed my family. If you could give us some of those like buttons, I'd appreciate it. And with that, we're on a time crunch, so we're not going to go through all of the shows. You know who they are. They're your favorite podcasters. Got you covered from Monday to every day. Breaking news. You want Bronco stuff in Spanish. You want it in the daytime. You want it in the nighttime. You want it on Tuesday. You want it on Thursday. We got you. So do yourself a favor, follow the network. You'll always get the video as they're streaming because we're dope like that. And we are. All right. I want to be able to talk about this one before I got to go. And I didn't want, because I don't want you guys to all have the fun when I have to leave. It's just not helpful. You have been out of the loop, Ty?
It's all right, Ty.
You don't call anymore? Don't text?
Hi,
talk about
Ty.
that later. But here we are. All right. Cue us up with some foosball, Bobby. But before we do, Rockies, your Colorado Rockies, your surging Colorado Rockies right now up on the Houston Astros, 7-1, going into the bottom of the sixth.
Wow.
With a win, the Rockies will be at 500. I think probably the latest they've been at 500 in some time.
Yeah,
but the fact that this team showed resilience, they lost some gut-wrenching ones in Miami. Your opening day is just absolute garbage from jump, and they find a way to win 3 in a row, make it 4 in a row potentially, and getting contributions from all the guys, whether it's pitching, whether it's bullpen. Yesterday Kyle Freeland got the win. Antonio Sensatella got the save. Like it's 2018. So just quick plug there. We'll get really into the Rockies next week when they're in first place. I actually don't think that's mathematically possible right now, but I snuck that in because Chris doesn't let me, and it was under 2 minutes. So with that, let's talk about that foosball, Bobby.
Let's talk about it. You want to talk Jaylen Waddle? You want to talk draft before you go?
We'll do Waddle. I'll let you guys hit the draft because then it's not as disjointed and all this stuff. And you'll kill it.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit. I wasn't here when Jaylen Waddle trade went through to talk about it. So I'm glad to have an opportunity, but just want to get a feel for y'all's now that we've kind of been marinating with the idea of Jaylen Waddle being in this offense. Just wondering how you think he'll be deployed, what he'll bring to this offense kind of in general. And if you think that it was a worthwhile move, I think we all feel I'll answer that one because I think we all feel like it was a good move, something that the Broncos needed to do. But do you think it's going to carry the impact that we're hoping it will? Nick or Doc, I'll start with you on this one. Give me kind of your takeaways on that.
Yeah, I think just the thing that he was brought in for was he brings electricity. So last year, Jaylen Waddle was recorded a top speed of 23.2 miles an hour in 2025, playing for garbage. Average throw down field is 12.7 yards. So he really indicates that he's a consistent chunk getter, a guy that's just going to get you easy first downs, which this team needed. Additionally, one, it's like good dude. So it meshes well with, I think, what the locker room will be. Averages almost 4 yards after the catch. So you give him a 6-yard hitch, he's going to get you 10 at minimum. So, which this team has not really had a yak threat.
Right.
I mean, maybe you say Jerry, dude, maybe. But, like Troy's a little bit of that, but that's about it. The rest of your guys are really catch. Evan Ingram, I guess, but we're not going to go all the way in that. I think they did. Again, it's the equivalent of the 25th overall pick, the first round, third round, fourth round. You get Miami's early fourth, so the equivalent of the 25th pick overall. There's not a player in this draft, especially at after the 25th pick, that I would say was better than Jaylen Waddle. You add that on the financial security. He's already been on the team. Like his contract's on. He's a bit cost-wise, it's a slam dunk. And he's already shown the ability to work with the team. He took a restructure his first week as a Bronco so that we had more cash on hand. And so there's not a box that I think this move doesn't check. And so I really think that he's the missing piece for things. And I expect a significant jump in the offensive efficiency. I don't know, like points per game, all that stuff. I would assume it will go up. But I think we'll all know when we look at it. Like, this is a diverse team, and you can't shade to Cortland, you can't shade to Jaylen, or if you do, you're going to pay the price. And this team hasn't had a real threat like that in a while. Like it's been one where you're actually afraid to. You have to give him cushion. It's 23 miles an hour. Like, goodness gracious. Like, good luck with that. And so I'm all for it. The only thing I don't know is, was that good enough for all of the free agent moves that weren't done? That one is to me I don't know how I feel about that yet, knowing that this is it. So super pumped about it. I think he was the right guy for this system. Their due diligence in getting him from trade deadline last year, like this has been a guy that they've targeted, and there's been specific reasons. So this wasn't a New York Jet style move where you're just like, what? Who did you trade for? Like what? Jamal Adams for multiple firsts? Like what? Why are we? It doesn't sound like a smart idea. So I think he's it. I think he's everything that the Broncos needed to take him over the top. And with that, I'm going to let you boys talk about how right I am, because I am.
All right. We got it. You can trust
Appreciate you.
Take it easy, Doc. Yeah, Chris, just to kind of elaborate on that, how do you feel about the duo of Sutton and Waddle now? I think, obviously they're different types of wide receivers. Do you think that it's a good pairing? Do you think that, do you think that it is an elite pairing?
Yeah, so I think it is a good pairing. I don't know, elite may be a step too far for me.
Sure.
But I think the fact that they do different things on the football field and have different skill sets is important because you're going to get different looks and you're going to get different it gives the Broncos another chess piece to move around the field and to be active with. So I think it's a great pairing for the Broncos.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. My initial reaction was obviously one of joy, of happiness. We talked kind of coming up into the draft, like picking 31. There's a chance that there's a good receiver there that you can get. And we talked about, the AJ Browns of the world, some different options that you would have to go make a trade for. I like the AJ Brown, the player. Do I like him as a locker room guy? That sort of thing. So when we landed Waddle, it was a lot of excitement. We did feel initially like maybe we overpaid, maybe still feel like that way, just being a draft guy. I like having extra picks.
Yeah, I understand.
And I know George Payton, he likes to have lots of darts to throw at the board, but obviously they felt this was worthwhile. And I understand why. We have some guys that can be deep ball threats, but they're not consistent. Franklin had too many drops over the last couple of years for me to feel real comfortable with him in that sort of role. Mims can separate down the field in straight line, but isn't the most consistent route runner. There are guys that have some of the ability, but Waddle kind of marries all of that skill and ability together. And so I'm excited for the duo. I wonder, if it's going to be a balanced attack or if it's going to be, this week Cortland feasts, next week Waddle feasts, kind of that handoff. But we'll just have to kind of see what they do with the offense, especially with Sean Payton kind of taking the backseat, presumably on the play calling side.
Yeah, and I think also just to your point, I think getting Davis Webb, if he indeed is going to be the new play caller, getting him as many weapons as possible so he has the potential for success is super important. So
yeah, no, I agree with you. Let's transition. We like draft talk. We're going to talk.
We love draft talk.
Chris has put together some. What did you say they were? They're
Yeah, so it's a little this or a little that. So I'm going to give you 4 pairings of players. So one that's going to go in the second round, and then another that's going to go in the fourth round. And I'm going to ask you to pick and then defend why you were picking that pairing. Yeah. So you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So the first pairing is Tredain Stukes, who is the corner/safety from Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
He's paired with Keyshawn Elliott, who's the linebacker from Arizona State.
Okay.
The second option is Jadarian Price, a running back from Notre Dame, and then Jalen Farmer, a guard from Kentucky. And your third option is Elijah Surratt, the wide receiver out of Indiana, and Kyle Lewis, the linebacker out of Pitt. And last but not least, Max Clare, tight end from Ohio State, or Damon Claiborne, who's the running back from Wake Forest.
Okay.
So do you have a favorite there?
Yeah. I'd love to mix and match them, but if I'm going with just a pair, who was with Jadarian Price?
Jalen Farmer. He's the guard from Kentucky.
That's right. I think I lean that way. I like Stukes a lot. I think he's a really good prospect. He's a bit undersized, which always worries me with a corner. Maybe he would play slot a little bit. I think he could play slot and hold up decently. But I always worry a little bit about size, especially height and length with cornerbacks. So
sure. As
much as I like his aggression and his ability to kind of attack, he's a good tackler for his size. That kind of always makes me hesitate. I will always kind of shy away from those guys, unfortunately. I think for me, Jadarian Price has the highest upside of those guys. I actually think he's running back 2 in this class. So if he falls into the second round that far, which I could see a scenario where he would just because of the value of the position, but I think that likely he won't be there, but I would love for that to be the case. I just think he is dynamic. He may not be quite as smooth and elusive as Love, at the top of the draft, but he's explosive, man. He's an athlete. He's juiced up. Like he has an ability set that we need, which is just ability to run between the tackles, run with power, and also just some long speed that I'm not sure we really have in the room. Dobbins is great when he's healthy, or it has been great for us when he's healthy.
Yeah,
we'll see how he holds up. But also, it's just that pairing with the player and the need potentially in that room. I think that's probably my favorite, though. I think with Claire, I like Claire. I think he's going to be a good, productive NFL tight end. I think that's kind of a sweet spot where the Broncos are at to get a good tight end like that. So I think it's more of a likelihood that he'll be there.
Yep.
Kyle Lewis is interesting just from his measurables. Like, I don't know how
I don't think he's a linebacker. That's my problem.
Yeah.
That 6 foot 220 frame of his is certainly not conducive to be a 3-4 inside linebacker. So I don't know what you do with him.
Yeah, so, I don't know either. He'd have to really be a specialist. He'd hopefully play really well on special teams. I think that's always a possibility for him just because he's a dog for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not sure where he would fit in scheme wise with this team. They'd have to definitely get creative on how they deploy him. Yep. But man, he's an impressive football player for sure.
No question, super productive. He's got like all the tools that you want. The problem is just the frame. Like I don't know how Vance Joseph would deploy him in this system. So
yeah.
I think I agree with you. I think Jadarian Price is probably the one I would pick.
Yeah.
The good news for the Broncos is I think that they've covered themselves more than adequately, so they can go best player available and kind of roll that way. So whether it's a running back or even a corner that maybe needs to replace Riley Moss a year from now, or Marvin Mims, as a receiver for if they need to replace him a year from now, that kind of thing. I think they can pick their poison, as it would be.
Yeah, for sure. I think the more that I think about it, the more I feel they might target a tight end in the second round, just because I think that's like a sweet spot. There's outside of Sadiq, and I think a lot of people, someone will be in love with Sadiq and he'll probably go pretty high. But I could also see a lot of folks just wondering where the productivity in college was as a playmaker. And so potentially he would slide if someone didn't think he was worth just the sheer athletic talent that he is. But after that, the tight end class is I think there's a lot of good guys, and I think there's a lot of NFL players, but I don't think there's a lot of top end guys per se. And so I think that I could see myself kind of leaning that way, depending on how the draft falls, of course. But, when we're looking at these mocks and doing these mocks on the simulators, there always seems to be like one or two good options from that tight end group that are available, whether it's Jolie from NC State or whether it's Max Clare, the Stowers, I've seen him there, and a lot of people are really interested with him in that joker position, quote unquote, that Sean Payton likes. That could he be someone who fits that potentially? Right. But I think of all those out of that group, I think Jadarian Price, and I always like taking a guard. Like, obviously there's elite guards that you can get early that are worth the pick, but I think you can find good value for a guard or an interior offensive lineman later in the draft. I tend to say, like, always pick one of those guys.
Yeah. When you don't know what to do, take one of the linemen. So
yeah. I mean, how many? I'm sure there's a number of guards and offense and centers that were day 3 guys that are starters, high quality starters in the NFL. So. But when you have a chance to get a playmaker like Jadarian Price, I think you gotta take that risk.
Yep, I agree with you. It was interesting today that I saw the Eli Stowers, who's the tight end from Vanderbilt. A lot of people a lot of teams are evaluating him as a receiver only, so he's not going to be a tight end.
Okay,
that
is interesting. I mean, I could see it. He's not a fantastic blocker to begin with.
No, not even fantastic. I think capable is
sure, fair enough.
And it's fine. Like, I think he's a really good player, but it's interesting. Like, in this class, you seem to have a list of specialists like Eli Stowers and Max Clare who are adequate run blockers, but not like you wouldn't want them ever like trying to line them up in line. And then you have your guys who are mostly blockers only. So it's just an interesting class from a tight end's perspective. So
yeah. So they're going to try and use him more as a receiver, huh? I mean, and it makes sense. They'll probably line him up interior still. A little more like Mike Gesicki-esque, I guess.
Yep, exactly.
How they'll deploy him. I guess you put that guy on the outside. I mean, he's athletic. We saw at the combine that he can tear it up. So
yeah, 100%.
There. That is interesting, though. I hadn't heard that, so that's cool. Anything else you want to talk about before we hit the end of the show?
No, I don't think so. I think we're good.
I want to know, like, you've had a lot of time to think about it, and since you're not only a Broncos fan, you're primarily a Cowboys fan.
That is true.
What have you gone back and forth on who you want to see them take?
Yeah, so there's a big 6 for defensive players in the first round. So it's the 3 Ohio State guys, Reese, Downs, Styles, and then you have Bain, and then you have Delane, and then I'm forgetting one, Bailey from Texas Tech.
Yeah, David Bailey.
If those guys are gone, which I keep seeing over and over and over again, I am very much okay taking Fano or Maui Noah or one of those guys and just saying we're going to roll with it because those are better players than, say, trying to take a Kedrick Falk or a Dylan Thieneman like I did in the mock draft. Mm-hmm. I think that's probably a better use of resources. It's just take an offensive player. Like, don't be afraid to take, even if it's a wide receiver. So don't be afraid to take Jordan Tyson. Don't be afraid to take Malachi Lemon because you don't know what's going to happen with George Pickens. So yeah, I've gotten comfortable with, kind of doing whatever. Like, I would like to see a defensive player at 12 and 20, but it may not be the way the draft falls. So
the best player available, right?
Exactly right. Especially when you just have to have talent. Like, there's the reason they're picking 12. So for
sure. Maybe you could love to fall down to 12. I don't think it seems like everyone. I've been seeing a lot of big boards final shaping up. It seems like Jeremiah Love is like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
in most people's big boards, which is surprising a little bit, but it isn't surprising. I mean, I think he's obviously super talented, but I don't know if I put him up on like the top echelon running backs of the last 10 years. But I mean, obviously a lot of guys think so.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, this is a weird draft because a lot of like the best players, like your Caleb Downs, your Sonny Styles, your Arbel Reeses, are in positions that would not be considered premium. Like, they're not defensive linemen or offensive linemen or receivers or whatever. Like they're off-ball linebackers, they're safeties, they're that kind of thing. So I'm okay taking like Jeremiah Love in the top 5 because I think he's one of the best 5 players in the draft. So just take the player and roll with it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see how it shakes out. We gotta do something. I don't know if we're planning on doing anything for the draft. I know sometimes we go down to the Rock in Aurora. And watch over there. We did that last year. Maybe we'll do that again. But as we get closer to the draft, we'll have plans. We'll go watch the first round anyways, even though we don't have a pick. You never know. Maybe they'll wheel and deal, get back in the first round somehow.
You never know.
So, but we're gonna call it a day today. Thank you everyone for being with us. We appreciate you as always. We'll be here next week, same time. But in the meantime, be kind to one another. Be safe out there. And if you need a sports prescription, ask a doctor. And I don't know how to do the exit thing, so we're just going to end the stream because that's Doc's job. So goodbye, everyone. We appreciate you. Take it easy. Oh, there it is. Play outro and stream.
From football to hockey, we're taking it higher. Join the celebration, feel that sports desire. So grab your crew, let's hit the show. My high sports symposium, let the good times flow.